All right, we're live. Welcome back to the Northern Nerd Network. My name is Dan Schessel, and on today's episode, we have none other than the greatest co-host that anybody could have, possibly, Chelsea Thompson. Say hello.
Hi guys. Oh, Daniel Schessel, you flatter me. You make me blush.
Yes.
Hi everybody.
I could not do the show without her, so it was amazing. Just saying. And on today's episode, we also have Ben Yendall from the Hiding Way, which is a podcast about Star Wars.
Star Wars and role-playing in Star Wars, yeah.
Awesome. So we have some knowledge on the Star Wars universe here tonight.
A little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit. Just the universe, right?
Tiny bit, yeah. I'm also sort of the resident Star Wars geek for the podcast, but yeah.
Yeah. It's all good. You know, whatevs. So yes, we also will hopefully be joined by Jedi Roland if he shows up. Hopefully, I don't know where he is at the moment, but he said he will be here. Maybe he will show up later on. So first off, let's just start off by talking about how was your week there, Chelsea? What did you do? Where were you? I haven't seen you for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. My last couple of weeks have been pretty good. My temporary assignment for the Vancouver School Board ended. That's nice. The kids are off for winter break and I'm off with them, so 2 weeks off, which is nice. And then I'm headed back on another temporary assignment in January. So I'm sticking around Vancouver this week. Then actually I'm going to be cooking a full Christmas dinner on Christmas Eve for some of my boyfriend's family and some of my family and a whole bunch of our friends who are orphans, so that'll be fun. I'm actually having to cook our turkey in my friend's oven because we have a tiny apartment, and with it comes our tiny apartment oven that's too small to cook a turkey, so thank goodness for my friend Kelly and her large oven and her generosity to share it. Yeah, and then the morning of Boxing Day, I'm hopping on a plane and heading back your way for a little visit. So, pretty good. I'm going to finish the podcast and go make some shortbread cookies. Woo-hoo! That's about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ben, how have you been? I never talked to you, so how was your week? What was going on? Anything interesting? How's the podcast?
Podcast is going great. We are amazingly enough sticking to our weekly schedule and just got a episode up on using holidays in a role-playing game, which is not something that it seems like many people try and do. So doing that, getting it edited so that it sounds presentable, takes up a bit of time, and then just sort of getting together with a bunch of friends. The game is also pretty fun, which is between that and seeing the new Star Wars movie, that kind of ate up most of my free time.
Mm-hmm.
That will do that. We have Aaron watching. He says hi to you, Chelsea. Just say.
Yay! Hi,
Aaron. That's awesome. Of course, we are going to be talking about The Force Awakens, which is some movie that came out here over the weekend and is sort of a big deal. So we figured we'd talk about it a little bit at least. And today, for myself, anyways, for the week, not really much has happened. I got a chance to go and play some board games over the weekend. So I got to play. What was it? Dead of Winter again. Got a good,
awesome.
solid run in that one over the weekend. And I also got a chance to play Smash Up for the first time. My brother has it, and he's been dying to he's trying to get me to play this game. And every time we get a chance, it's either too late or something else is happening. So we actually got a chance to sit down and actually play that one for a little bit, and it was pretty good. I actually kind of enjoyed it. The ones the Smash Up I sort of had was robot plants. So I was just spawning like all sorts of different little robot creatures all over the place. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Other than that, I watched The Force Awakens opening night. It was pretty amazing. So yeah. Anyways, anything else, Chelsea, that we should be talking about?
No, just I saw the pictures that got posted of you guys at the Force Awakens opening night with your lovely wife, Trina, dressed up as her awesome X-Wing fighter self, and your little Neo Stormtrooper, and our good mutual friend, Wendy, rocking the Princess Leia buns. Amazing pictures from your foray to opening evening on Thursday evening.
I was
They
actually.
made my night. Trina messaged them to me, and I was like, yes.
We went to Windermere for the opening night there, and to be honest with you, I expected a few more people to be dressed up. We saw a few people come in. There was some of the Royal Guard came in.
I bet you would have seen more people dressed up if you had gone to Silver City at the mall. I bet you there would have been more people dressed up there.
Well, I know that the Saber Guild was at Silver City, right? And so they had all the whole Saber Guild there. Were taking pictures and all that kind of stuff over at that.
Yeah, Windermere's a nice theater, but you're out in like Suburbville, and not to say that suburbanites aren't Star Wars fans, but I would say that they're probably less likely to dress up to go to the opening.
They were a lot less likely to dress up to go to the opening. I was kind of disappointed because I'm like, oh, really? Like, it's opening night. Just do it. Just dress up.
You want to.
I know, exactly. But that's okay. It was still a good time. To be had by all. Yeah. Anyways, you both have seen the movie.
Yes.
Let's before we get into like really spoilery territory here.
So yes, sidebar.
What was
anybody following and listening along at this point? This is your fair and clear warning. We're going to spend the rest of this podcast talking about Star Wars: The Force Awakens, spoiling it left, right, and center. If you do not want any spoilers, stop watching right now. Fairly clearly. All right, my duty's done.
Just get out. Just get out. Good. Aaron has said he got lucky when he went to South Edmonton Common, where they threw out the mask and weapon rule so that the theater manager could patrol the lobby in his stormtrooper gear.
Wow,
nice.
That's awesome.
That is.
That would have been cool. I think that would have been pretty. Yeah, to see that would have been nice.
So now, Aaron, did you go all dressed up in your complete X-Wing fighter gear? I'm going to toss that out to Aaron. He can answer at his leisure.
He'll be a few seconds behind us anyways.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was, for me, I enjoyed the movie. I want to see your guys' reaction. How do you guys think they handled the movie overall? I'll go to you, Ben.
I think they handled it a lot better than I had any right to expect. I was expecting something very generic, very like science fiction, but not to the extent that they did, and they got the connections and they got the sort of joy from the cast of being in a Star Wars movie. It was really fun.
Yes, I believe that the way that they handled the old characters and bringing in the new cast, it looked like they treated everybody really well. All the characters were, like the old characters were treated with a lot of respect, and I think a lot of the new characters were coming in, they looked like they were having just the greatest time in the universe being in a new Star Wars movie. So I think the way that they did it was absolutely wonderful. Chelsea, what were your thoughts overall?
I really enjoyed it overall. The thing I'm most pleased about is, without getting stuck too much in the past, what a truly great homage it was to the original 456. Like, right down to the cinematography and the visuals. And I mean, we talked about this when the first original trailer came out. That huge panoramic shot they have of Rey on her speeder going across the desert to the reveal of the huge crashed Star Destroyer. Just
Yeah.
the
That
epic
still hits you.
of the visuals from 4,
Yeah.
5, 6. Like, J.J. Abrams, I mean, he literally must have sat down and watched and rewatched it like a coach watching football film, right? To work with his cinematographers to capture the visual style. It was a huge homage to the original 456s, which I really liked because that put me in the mood that the originals put me in, which is, that great mood of excitement and being drawn into the story. It all starts with the visuals, and so that he went there and used the same palette visually, I thought was a great hook into the story. I was most pleased with that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, that the thing that I really enjoyed about that, especially that one scene, is that no matter how much I watched the trailers, that one specific scene still gets you. Like,
Oh,
while
so true.
while she's going through the desert, like, it still gets you, and you still get that sense of, oh
Yeah,
man,
the
this is
vastness of
huge.
everything, the epicness of the whole story. Like, it's a visual microcosm for how epic the whole saga is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that, or one of the things that really stuck out for me was how it took a lot of the classic tropes from the old 6 movies and turned them on their head. The physical one was Rey. Like, the true star of the show is the woman who's on screen, which
Hmm.
this is really the first time in 7 movies we've seen it. And any of the times when you were seeing the classic uh, hero style things of uh, the guy asking, "Are you okay?" or trying to act in any sort of standard action hero fashion, it's
There was
you
always
just
a moment of pause of like, really? Are you really asking that? Really?
and it's
Yeah.
that it's the are you asking that is this really going on that makes it awesome.
I really enjoyed now we're gonna go into like uh into Rey's character here for a little bit here. I really liked how they set her up at the beginning of the movie. They set her up as, oh, she's gonna be the damsel in distress.
Mhm.
She's the one that's gonna be the one that needs to be saved, and it totally isn't.
No.
She is not the girl that needs to be saved. You need to be saved from her.
In so many ways. Like, if there was a prototypical self-rescuing princess, that's Rey. She's trapped and taken away, and she gets herself out. She almost doesn't need anyone else to come after her, other than to offer her a ride. At that, like, that's
Like,
just totally awesome.
when they first see her and she meets Finn for the first time, and Finn is grabbing her hand, she's like, "Stop grabbing my hand!" She's really pushing that like whole. You don't need to like be towing me all over the place. I can handle myself.
And that I really liked because they took, like you were saying, a lot of respect to the old characters. They took major original characteristics and expanded them with the new characters, right? So Rey is very much Leia, but expanded in a way that 2015 allows. Leia had that, Han trying to constantly rescue her, and she being like I've
Yeah.
got a blaster, I can take care of myself, thanks. But
Yeah.
in the 70s, we're still limited by how much we can put Leia in the forefront as the self-sustaining princess. Whereas now in 2015, we have room to expand those characteristics of the original character and put Rey front and center and really, let that run, which is great.
Yeah, no, she was definitely one of my favorite characters in the movie. She's not. I'm going to say this. She's not my favorite character in the movie. There is another person in there that is my favorite, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Mm.
But
I'm really curious now, because before the movie entered, a lot of the murmur and spoilerage pointed as her being Han and Leia's daughter.
Well,
As we watch and find out, at least for now, it doesn't look like she's their offspring. Another character in the movie is their offspring.
mm-hmm.
So it just makes me really curious.
so when we walked out of the movie theater,
who Rey is the progeny of, where she gets her powerful force from.
okay, so we've all come down to the idea that I mean, here we're definitely into spoilers here right now. But
yeah.
Here's the thing. Like we're all down to the fact that she is somebody's kid. Like we know this.
Well,
or do we?
That's the trick. Is considering when she was dumped on Jakku, she was like 5, 7 years old.
Yep.
Okay, people change a lot in 14, 15 years, which is supposedly how long she was there. But are you telling me that of the people that she is rumored to have as parents, that everyone wouldn't have tried to, or at least recognized her a bit? Like, if you can see relations in people.
Yeah,
well, I mean, we don't know that Luke didn't recognize her. There was no dialogue exchange.
Well, and that's the other aspect. It could have been a kid that was kept from Luke, because there is a lot being said in those eyes during that silent scene.
That's the question now. Like during while she's with Han, Han never leads on to the fact that he knows her.
True.
Right? Now, when by the sounds of it,
I think
they give up Ben.
If Han and Leia were going to have a conversation about the son that they lost, I'm sure they would have a conversation about the daughter that they lost.
Yes.
And then is standing over there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you can kind of rule out the Han and Leia aspect.
I'm for certain it's not Han and Leia's kid. Almost positive that's not their kid. My question is it Luke's? My other thing is, before we get into here, is she a virgin? That's my other question.
That one's an interesting question. There were 2 other names that got tossed around that I was liking. One being she's somehow a Kenobi or a distant relative of Sheev Palpatine, just to keep things absolutely crazy. But yeah, the Luke one seems to be, especially with the way that they're looking at each other at the end, it seems to make the most sense.
Well, the other thing is when she's in the temple, during the whole part where she's getting the lightsaber, or the lightsaber's calling out to her, it does seem like there was a flash of Luke in there, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that tips me off that it may be Luke, or Luke is somehow involved.
Well, if it's his saber, I mean, who knows what memories she's accessing, right? There was a flash of Luke in there, and what I got from the flash of Luke looked like when Kylo Ren turned on Luke and killed everybody. That's what the flash is. So that just may be a memory.
Maybe I'm benefiting from my seeing it twice because I really like the movie, but you also have a Empire Strikes Back bit, the Triangle Corridor. It's where Rey's looking at is the final battle between Luke and Vader. She's looking at them.
Yeah.
And then other things are happening. You even kind of sort of hear Luke yell out his no as his father's revealed. You also kind of hear Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda.
And here's where I come out with the whole is she a virgin? Is it because of the death of Vader? Is it the Force giving birth to another prodigy?
That's another interesting question to it. And
Theory. I mean, then you look at, I mean, it's my understanding, and I'm not a super fan or know the lore very well, but I mean, Finn wields the lightsaber, and it's my understanding that you can't actually wield the lightsaber unless you have some
there's that,
sense
and
of the Force, and there's a reason that despite all of his brainwashing, he breaks protocol. So
that's
then we
the
look
other
at,
point.
what, if any, access does he have to the Force, and where does it come from?
See, here's my theory on this part.
Mm-hmm.
Luke was just trying to find the first temple, right?
Mhm.
During that time, he is now unleashing the Force back into the world. So he's actually, when they go and say there has been an awakening, is Luke physically going to this temple and basically awakening the Force again inside of people. The Force has been dead, as far as we can tell, up until this point. Now, with Luke going to this first temple, he is bringing that back out. Now, I don't know if it's the trigger that happened that made him, like him seeing that, this is wrong, or if this is it just happened to be at that time.
I've been looking at it in sort of the reverse fashion, that it's Rey who's the things happening to Rey and her journey that is bringing the Force back. That it's having Finn show up and having her have to get into the Falcon, get going, and essentially learning to do things on the fly. This is a woman who can pick up anything now. She gets exposed to it and she becomes competent at it. She has someone mind probe her, and then she's able to do the same thing 5 minutes later.
Yeah, she understands how to basically use the Force almost instinctually, right?
Mhm.
Like she never was taught how to mind trick somebody,
No.
but she does it.
Well, she has Kylo doing it 2
But
minutes
Kylo
before
does
to
it
her.
in a totally different
Yeah.
fashion, right? She
Well,
does
yeah.
she does the actual where Obi-Wan Kenobi would do it, wave the hand kind of thing. These aren't the droids you're looking for. She actually does it to the point where she's like,
Yes.
you repeat after me and do what I say.
Again, the thing I like that point sort of brings up again how it played as an homage, taking characteristics of old characters and then amplifying them and bringing them to the forefront. So here she's got aspects of Luke, right? And even I mean the format of how the story was told in the events in the story,
Mhm.
right? First one, we blow up the Death Star, and then Luke goes in search of Yoda. Second one, we
Mhm.
blow up the star-destroying planet, and Rey goes in search of Luke, right? It's the
Yeah.
formula of, and while Luke did have Obi-Wan for a little bit, there wasn't really super intensive it's, really,
Yeah.
if you go back and watch the first one, it's a few words of wisdom from Obi-Wan, and Luke just kind of
Yeah.
picks it up, and then Obi-Wan's dead, and he kind of gains his power on his own from there, right?
Exactly.
So, pulling out characteristics of previous characters and plot points, and yeah, just a true homage. I really like, how it all plays together.
I was reading this morning about the circle theory. Did you get a chance to read that at all? It sounds like you may have. Or do you know what it
I've
is?
taken a look at the ring theory. Yes.
The ring theory.
Yeah.
What has happened will happen again.
Mm.
Sort of
Well,
deal.
It's an amazing, powerful idea behind a lot of these stories, because if you want to take a look at it for the circle fashion, you've got almost the exact same story happening in The Phantom Menace. You've got A New Hope happening, and now you've got The Force Awakens. And in very general terms, you've got the three different things, including You've got the old teacher dying. Like, for The Force Awakens, Han Solo definitely takes on the Obi-Wan persona, or the slot. Like, trying to teach, trying to draw out. It's very much the Obi-Wan style character in that particular arc.
Well, and then, of course, hearkening back to fathers and sons
Oh, yes.
on long bridges.
With
Yes.
very cool.
Well, we knew what was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
When that
You saw that, yeah.
But it's that great. I mean, it's that great. I hearken it to the Romeo and Juliet moment, and why Romeo and Juliet gets produced again and again and again, because you get to that moment in the tomb where it's like, maybe this time the poison will wear off, and she'll wake up like just that second in time to maybe
Exactly.
he'll like hold his hand or like touch his face, and the light will come back to him. But we all really know what's coming. We can see it coming a mile away. We know it has to happen because that's the trigger that sets off the rest of the story in motion. We know it has to happen, but it might not. It might not.
Yes, exactly.
the whole thing with all that. Are you guys? What are your guys' thoughts and feelings about there not being Sith anymore?
I'm very okay with this.
There's obviously something else that will take this place.
Well,
however.
I mean, you have a master and you have an apprentice, so even if they're going by different names now.
Well, it's what Maz said. It's what Chelsea just said. It's the same story being told again. And as Maz was saying in the show, it doesn't matter whether it's a Sith, the Empire, or the First Order. It comes back again.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing saying in the Knights of Ren here that there can only be a master and apprentice. There's nothing stating that will be the case. This may actually open the door to having multiple people with the dark side of the Force.
In a more formal session.
In a more formal fashion.
I think it opens up to the idea that there's more than just this binary. I think depending on who the Force user is, which, as a complete sidebar, the Star Wars Old Republic MMO, that's what I really, really liked about it. Like, you pick your initial binary faction, Jedi or Sith, but within those, they allow for this spectrum of gray depending on the choices you make while you're playing, which I think the Knights of Ren allows for. If you're having multiple Force users, it all depends on the personality and the character of the person wielding the Force. How much light and how much... And that, I think, speaks to the nature of the Force. If it's all about balance, we all have to have our internal balance. We all have to have a little bit of light and a little bit of dark to make that true balance, which I think lends to a more interesting layer of the story, which I really hope they choose to go that way. Because as much as the same story being told again, the homage aspect of it is great, something new needs to happen to keep us interested.
Yes. And I don't know, maybe it's the role player in me that, since we got to tell new stories every single session, and we keep coming back to needing to have interesting moral questions, having the questions become new and different than just, is it going to be the same thing again?
It's not as simple as the binary.
It can't be.
No, they gotta break out from the mold a little bit, right? And I believe when George Lucas made that decision in episode 1, 2, 3 there, I'm not sure when it was when he said, there can only be one Sith and one apprentice, or one master and one apprentice. I think that really blocked him into a corner, right?
Although, that happened in 1, 2, 3, and for all its other flaws, which we could spend a whole other
Oh, yeah.
podcast. Yeah, we're not going in there. I'm just saying this is one way for them to break out of that mold.
The one
Yes.
thing that I did like was that even though they were sticking with that binary model, we got to see a bit of the justification. We got to see how Vader became Vader and sympathize with his character. I mean, it's understandable why and how he went there. And that, to me, is, again, another sort of doorway into this. Well, it's not really that binary. There's shades within.
Anakin's fall is doing all the wrong things for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of the wrong things, but you can see why he falls.
Yeah.
And you can also see why Luke approaches the dark side and goes right to the cusp and then steps back. And by doing so is able to redeem Anakin Skywalker. And so, how this one going forward is going to make it interesting and new is going to be kind of... There's so many possibilities for it, and we've got such different sensibilities than we did even 12 years ago.
Now, what are you guys...
Speaking of redemption, I just want to toss this out there. I mean, this is a really big question for us to chat about. The idea is sort of already out there, but is Kylo Ren redeemable?
I'm figuring that's the entire reason why the end of the movie happened. Like, it may be slightly woobifying him, but it's... I don't see him going completely down that path. Unless we kill Snoke, whatever.
Unless he kills Snoke.
Yeah, unless he then ascends to becoming the leader of the First Order.
Yeah.
I don't see him...
being redeemable.
Well,
I think he's redeemable now. At this point. And I think... I think with that moment on the bridge, I think that moment will haunt him.
Yeah.
Because he hesitated. And because he hesitated, that is the part that's going to haunt him, because he knows he's not fully there.
Yeah. That he knows that he did it, but not...
He still has the emotion attached to Han, right?
Yeah.
He should have been, at that point, he should have been completely void of any kind of emotion to his father, and he should have just killed him, straight up. But because he hesitated, because he still has that emotional attachment to Han, he won't ascend past that point.
And
I don't know.
That's what makes him
the opposite. Despite his emotion, he killed him anyway.
Well, despite the emotion that
he was bringing him to the point of blackening him enough. Like, it's not a redemption story unless the person you're redeeming has attained that blackened mark on their soul. And I think that, for me, that was the moment. Despite having emotions for Han, despite loving him, he killed him anyway. But despite the fact that Anakin had emotions towards those kids, because he cried during that moment, despite that, he still was able to be redeemable.
It took a lot, and his redemption then killed him, which that's sort of the level of redemption that he was requiring. But with Kylo, I'm seeing if he didn't kill Han, then that would be... Then I don't think he would have been redeemable. Without the death of his father, I don't think he would have been redeemable. I do have the strangest feeling that it's going to be his mother and his uncle doing the redemption, at least in some part. But...
Or Rey. I mean, if they somehow work it that she's his sister, I think it'll be her. If she's not his sister, I don't know.
See, that's I don't think it's their sister. I just can't get past that part. I honestly hope not. I think it is going to have to be coming from Luke or Leia, or he ascends past.
If he master-student relationship, That's, to me,
if he
the
takes
most
him out.
obvious, right, that Luke would be next on the list. If it's not his real father, it's the closest thing he has left.
Yeah, but then there's the aspect of Luke already tried to train him, and that
Yep.
failed. Snoke was able to corrupt him to the point of being able to kill his own father.
Well, and Leia
So-
did have that line, you know, when I sent him away, that's when I lost him.
Yeah,
So
so that's eating
it's
at her
Leia coming
too.
back into the picture that
Yeah.
breaks that emotional wall.
So I'm really thinking that it has more of a chance to come from Leia than it does from Luke, because it's closer family, it's his mother, which that's a huge connection, especially in the familial Star Wars setting.
Well, and looking at loops and thematically things repeating themselves, losing his mother, which is essentially in Kylo Ren's mind what happened when Leia and Han sent him away, is what drove Anakin to the dark side when he lost his mother, when his mother died. Right, so getting his mother back could potentially be what brings him back from the brink.
Yeah.
Which would turn the whole series on its head.
Which would be very nice to see.
Mm-hmm. Again, something new, right?
Exactly.
Overall, like I said, with the whole way that they did this movie, he left breadcrumbs for us, like, throughout the whole entire movie. It was absolutely beautiful. I did have one issue with it, with the movie itself, and it's just one scene, and that's when Rey, who sort of is kind of unfamiliar with Han as it is, she does say, "This is the Millennium Falcon." You know, the one that did it in 14 parsecs, like that. Han might as well have been wearing a shirt saying "I shot first" at that point. I mean, really, that is like the biggest piece of fan service I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, it was good for some.
Honestly, though, like, seriously, if we're talking about this,
They just
in an entire movie like this, that let's be
that
honest,
is essentially
all
fan
about
service.
fan service.
The whole
That's
movie was
the
fan
only
service.
blatant thing that happened. That
was
not
seriously
that
blatant, though. That was like as big as blatant as you get. So
Uh,
you might as well
bad.
slap it in the
Think about
face.
the potential of
I mean, the
like how
trench
many
run
there
was
could
better
have been.
fan service than this.
Yeah, how many there could have been.
I just at that moment I'm just like, oh my goodness, really?
Well, yeah, but you've got Han being so funny throughout the entire thing, just being this kind of grumpy old grandpa that's going through it and like offering her a job, offering her a blaster with probably the best scene I can think of. Hands her a blaster, she says, "I can take care of myself," and it's like, yeah, that's the reason why I'm giving it to you.
Yeah. It's like, I know you can take care of yourself. That's why you get it. That's why you get this gun. I mean, he was absolutely amazing. Like Harrison Ford. The only thing that makes me mad is that he's now gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because he did such a fantastic job throughout the whole entire movie. My fear going into this movie was BB-8. I'm like, he's got to be either really good or he's going to end up being like Jar Jar. And that was my fear. I am so glad he was absolutely adorable. And he was spot on.
He was spot on, but I'm going with he's their second kick at doing a cute little robot sidekick in the last couple of years. Because from the Rebels TV show, we have Chopper, which is a more murderous version of BB-8. I'm still questioning whether that was a thumb or some other digit that he raised to Finn in the Millennium Falcon. Like, Finn goes thumbs up, and then...
So when Finn meets Rey in the marketplace, and BB-8 shocks him, it's his spark igniter, and so that's what he put up for thumbs up. It was the same thing, it was his spark igniter.
I thought it was his, like a flamethrower, like a welder. But
something. Anyway, yeah.
whatever it was absolutely cute.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was I mean, they do carry welders on those things, don't they? Like
Yeah.
on those because they do
Yeah.
little tack ups on whatever vessel that they're on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
like
you go back to R2 in the original one, and he's there in the back, like, putting out flames and fixing stuff mid-flight while Luke's...
Yeah.
My only issue
That's
is that he is like he was like one of a kind, and they're carrying this droid around for more obvious reasons. Somebody's gonna notice this little droid that's rolling around.
Well, to be fair, everyone does notice that this is the droid.
Yes.
The people boarding Han's ship, both sides, that's the droid. Maz's bar, like 3 different groups, notice that's the droid.
The droid. It's pretty much like you send off the one droid that is like one of a kind, very noticeable, and hope he blends in.
Well, I mean, you have to have some plot contrivances to keep things rolling. I mean, you gotta,
Aaron is saying he loves
There's
Chopper.
gotta be a few of them. Otherwise, how do you keep the plot rolling?
That's right.
Yeah. And
I'm just BB-8 he just pushes the plot along a little bit faster, so that more action can happen at that time.
And he's acting like BB-8 acts like a very good mix between a cat and a dog, or like a really eager dog, which it really helps that. You don't really see BB-8 being the devious kind, other than when he absolutely needs to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
one thing talking about fleshing out the characters, as much as R2-D2 and C-3PO are their very own fleshed out characters, they really have taken as much time with the droids in all of the movies really are as fleshed out as all of the own characters, complete with their own personalities, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little disappointed that you don't get to see R2 at all during the movie. I mean, he's there, but he's like 5 minutes at the most, like 2 minutes.
Well, not even, like 2 minutes at most, and it's essentially BB-8 going up to him, say, "Hi, can I get some help?" And then after everything goes on, R2 finally wakes up and says, "Yeah, I can help you now."
See, I totally got the sense that, again, to do with however Rey happens to be linked to Luke, right?
Yeah.
He didn't wake up until she landed.
Exactly.
And was on the base, right? It said that he powered down when Luke left, and he powered back up when she stepped foot on the base.
Which then does give the whole
however she's related to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives credence to is it Luke's kid?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, there's little things like that happen throughout the whole entire movie, that you just absolutely. You're like, is it because of this? Like, it's so good.
There's so much, and there's so this is so much of a first act, and it's a nice self-contained story, but it also has so many plot threads that can be actually woven into the next thing.
So many places it can go, so many parts of the story that can happen. I was just going to say, another thing that gives me hope that they might open up the door to this sort of gray scale of the Force. Watching Ren learn to use the lightsaber that culminates in her fighting Kylo Ren in the forest, she's fighting him angry.
Yes.
So as much
a lot
as
like Luke
is portrayed as the calm light side of the Force, she's furious when she's fighting him, which doesn't match with
when she starts out. Yeah. When she starts out, then
enraged when she's fighting him.
Yeah, starts out, pulls the does the great Hoth homage of pulling the lightsaber past Kylo, and then just in defending Finn, doing this rage attack against him. It isn't until she's backed into a corner against a chasm that she sort of seems to drop into something and sort of centers herself.
But even then, after that moment, like, she's still got that anger and ferocity fueling her attack. After she's dropped into, finding that moment of using the Force to...
But Luke was the exact same thing when he was fighting. When he was fighting Vader, the only time he ever got a hand up on Vader was when he was mad.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part about keeping it as a grayscale, because when you're mad, you're thinking entirely within, which means you're not looking to protect anyone.
You're looking at the moment.
Yeah.
Right? You're in the moment at that moment, right? And that moment is you got to kill this other person. One thing, the only thing that makes me wonder if she is a Skywalker is her head did not get cut off as one other individual did.
Well, I'm just sort of thinking that particular lightsaber is cursed. Because everyone who's wielded that has had the right hand cut off.
Is it
Other
left?
than,
Left?
I thought it was right for some reason, but I can definitely be wrong on that.
It's right.
I'm going to double check.
I'm just thinking of the reveal when Luke pulled back his hood. It was his right hand.
Yeah, you're right. And
you're Googling it right now, aren't you, Daniel?
And
thank you, interwebs.
On the other hand, Finn does have a very worse outcome from wielding that lightsaber. So, if nothing else, you can definitely, or I can get behind that lightsaber's cursed.
It's for sure cursed. It seriously cuts off people's hands like crazy. That's all it's willed to do.
Pretty much.
Another thing I appreciated, and I don't know if I heard this or if it was floating around Facebook, and I saw it come through in the way they choreographed the saber fights. J.J. Abrams talked about, I don't know whether it was a discussion he had with George Lucas about how, especially in 1, 2, 3, the choreography was super quick and fast and light. Like, the sabers weighed nothing. And recently, like I said, I can't remember where or how it came about, but this idea that, there's, like, sabers have weight. Like, they're, like, wielding them is an effort. And I really appreciated that I saw that in the choreography, especially in the fight between Ben and Rey in the forest. As much skill and power that the Force gives them, how much wielding them takes out of them, how physically the fight slows down, how much it draws out of them. And so I really appreciated the choreography for that they built that into the choreo, that you could see the weight of the sabers.
And it's so much more of a raw form to it. It isn't this finely polished, I've been training with this for 20 years mentality to it, where even if they don't, or if they do have weight, you don't really notice it because you're experienced with it. This is someone who's just picked it up and someone who has created this other style that is just so out there.
Well, and it very much was saber longsword. It got very martial arts related, which I know it is in the original creation. They did source a lot of martial arts katas for 4, 5, 6 to build the originals. But this film, it very much had the feel of sabers and longswords. When I saw the original trailer, I really didn't know how to feel about the Quillins on Ben's lightsaber. I really didn't know how to feel about them, but after watching the fights in their entirety, it really did lend to that feel of the heavier longsword saber fighting, and the fact that he, like, their first wound that he gets on Finn that he uses the
Yes.
quillins to go into his shoulder. Like, I really liked that. Yeah.
Yeah. And having that different style, having it be so visibly different from any of the other 6 movies really is a nice aspect to it, where it's something so raw with it, something so different. Again, sort of a repetition, but something very different from what we've seen before.
Yeah. That's something new to hook us
Mhm.
in. Yeah.
I have no idea which hand it was.
Google.
I can't figure it out. It seems like it might be the right hand. Now here's my other question. Now that I'm thinking about it, is we keep always speculating that that's Luke touching R2D2. Could it possibly be Kylo?
In which part? Sorry?
The robot hand touching onto R2D2 when she has the vision in the temple. Could it be she looks into the future and sees Kylo getting a hold of R2D2?
I don't know. It really seemed like it was looking into the past for all of that. I mean,
you see past, future, and present.
I mean, I know Rey gets a couple swipes on him, and it looks like she gets his arm, but we never get confirmation of that visually.
She does cut off his hand. That much is.
No, if she does,
we never get confirmation of that.
Yeah.
We never actually see it visually. She gets a swipe on him down that looks like it goes through the hand, and then across his chest, which sends him flying back on his back, and then the chasm opens up between them.
Yeah.
But we never actually get visual confirmation that his hand is in fact gone.
Yeah, like that is the way he lands, that hand really could still be attached. You never really see a break of white snow in between. And with the way that he...
I think if they were going to go there, if they were going to continue that imagery, that would have been a moment to, like, continue that imagery.
Plus, that particular thing always shows up in the second episode.
Yeah.
Anakin loses his against Dooku in Attack of the Clones. Luke loses his in Empire Strikes Back against Vader. So it would be the thing happening at the end of the next movie, if we're going with the whole repetition idea.
And if it's...
But a lot of the repetition from the first movie...
If Ren's wielding Luke's lightsaber, is it even going to be Ben who loses his hand, or is it going to be Rey? Or...
Exactly.
Then if Luke takes his lightsaber back, does he lose his other hand?
Fair enough, eh?
But just judging by how that scene looks, it almost looks like Luke next to a funeral pyre, because the robes look pretty similar to what he's wearing at the end, and it's the same kind of hand brushing across R2D2 as it is pulling his hood back. And
Yeah. Who knows?
So much speculation.
So much speculation. I want to move away a little bit from the speculation at the moment, and talk a little bit more about one of my favorite characters, and that would be Poe.
Yes, Poe.
How did you feel about Poe?
2.0, the newest cocky pilot.
I'm sad that he didn't get as much screen time as he deserved.
I now want an anthology of Poe.
Yes.
Like, the third anthology movie should be about Poe.
Yes, during the next episode 8, please, I want to see more Poe. Bring him back. I'm so mad that he was just in there for the beginning half of the movie there, just a little chunk, and then he was there at the end. And most of that was during him flying through the sky in his X-Wing.
Well, I liked how...
And his little love scene with Finn.
Finn there? Yeah. His escape was great. Actually, it was a planning scene with the two guys from Lost that I really liked about Poe as well, because it wasn't General Organa doing anything. It was Poe saying, okay, this is what we need to do. You guys are doing this, you guys are doing that. Okay, yeah, they're doing the taking down the shield, which is what apparently Han's specialty. And it's entirely Poe deciding, okay, let's get everyone together and do this.
Yeah. Oh, for sure it is. I mean, he was just a solid character. Every time he hit the screen, you couldn't take your eyes off him. He was so energetic about everything he was doing.
Well, Oscar Isaacs is, I mean,
And you can tell he wanted to...
stuff that he's been in, but I mean, he's in everything that he does. He's incredibly watchable. I don't know whether it's his own personal charisma that he brings to every character he plays, but there is something about him that he is quite magnetic to watch on screen, regardless of what character he's playing.
Well, now I'm wanting to watch Inside...
Llewellyn Davis, yeah.
Yeah, that one, and I'm also wanting to watch Ox Machina.
Yeah.
Which both have Oscar Isaac, and they also have a particular... One has Gleason Doomhall in it. I think that was Ex Machina, and who was the one in... It was another co-star in Inside Llewellyn Davis. And yeah, I'm really wanting to go and watch those.
Ex Machina is a really good movie. Like, I mean, but he's just like, throughout the whole movie, fantastic. He's definitely one of my favorites for sure. Like coming out of this, you're like, yeah, we got Han Solo, Luke for 3 seconds at the very end of the movie.
Absolutely.
Leia was still, even though she has crazy eyes, she was still awesome. But the new characters are really where it started to shine in the movie. And I thought it was amazing. I thought it was just the way they did it was awesome. But sadly, we don't have too much longer that we can talk about this. We're running short on time here. So, but any final thoughts, Ben? What's your final thoughts?
I'm really looking forward to seeing more from this time period. I think it's going to be really interesting to see the echoes of what's gone before and what's coming up, and go see the movie. It's very watchable, even if you're not that invested in the series.
Who's going to go watch that again?
I'm on for at least one more in the theaters.
Yeah, I got to go again, for sure. I wanted to go again during the weekend, but Trina said I was busy. So I will go again, though. I have some time off coming up here, so I have to work this week, which is crazy, but whatever. Some things have to be done, I guess. People have to make money in this house. Chelsea, final thoughts?
My kudos goes to the writers and to J.J. Abrams. I mean, like he did with the Star Trek franchise, he's now done with the Star Wars franchise. He's done an incredible job of his homework. He knows the originals, and he's paid homage while still making it new and fresh, which was pleasantly surprising.
Yes.
And actually, Shane Turgeon, who the Northern Nerdcast knows quite well, made a Facebook post the other day that his description was, "I'm a fan again," which I think is an incredibly accurate way to put it. Yeah.
It just goes to show you that they can make a good Star Wars film again.
Yeah.
I am pleasantly surprised. I am very happy that they've done a good job during this movie. Like I said, I have to go see it again, and you know, it's not just me being such a big, huge fanboy saying, "Hey, it's good," because I'm a huge fanboy of the Star Wars movies. Like I 4, 5, 6 are just some of the best movies I've ever watched in my entire life. And seeing this movie now really gets you and in a way that it's just like it brings hope to the franchise. I can't express how much I am so excited and how much I can't wait to like sit down and have more discussions just like this one with all my friends around wherever about what's going to happen and what's your thoughts. So if you're out there watching this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what are your guys' thoughts out there on all this. What are your speculations? Whatever. Let me know.
The spoilers flow.
Yes. On this page. Don't go talking to anybody else. People actually have to search this out and actually physically go watch it. I do have it titled. There's spoilers. Please, if you're gonna watch this.
Both of the posts that I put on Facebook tonight about this podcast mention spoiler alerts. So.
Yes, that's very good. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. Ben, before we take off, where can people find you on the web?
Well, we have a Twitter account where we post about the show at, that one's The Heidian Way. We're on Facebook at Tales from the Heidian Way, and we're on iTunes and at Tales from the Heidian Way, and we also have a webpage through a group called the Mad Adventurer Society, which that's where all of our actual posts go up.
Awesome. Well, I am so glad you came and joined us tonight. It was great.
Thank you so much for chatting about the new movie with us. It was so much fun.
Thank you very much for having me.
We should just continue to do this.
We're gonna end the podcast. Everybody can go home. We're just gonna stay here behind the scenes, just anyway.
Anyways, that's it for this episode of the Nerdcast. I want to thank everybody.
Where can our fans find us on the web, Dan?
I will get to that. You guys can find us on YouTube. That's our main home. Sort of. We have a website as well now, which is northernnerdnetwork.com, which is newly redone. So go in.
Because he's amazing.
Sort of. I did. Squarespace is awesome. Let's just say that. So anyways, you can find us there at northernnerdnetwork.com. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/northernnerdnetwork. You guys can find us on Facebook. Just search Northern Nerd. Same with Twitter, Northern_Nerd. And yeah, and we also have Instagram and a whole bunch of other stuff. So you can find us. Just type in Northern Nerd, and you'll start like going down a big rabbit hole of places that you can find us. All right, I want to thank you guys again so much for watching this edition of the Northern Nerd, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.